Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Podcast for February 21st, 2024. Appreciate everybody joining from all around the world, listeners from all around the world. Podcast is brought to you by Capital Mortgage Funding, powered by Fairway Independent Mortgage Corporation. Oops, wrong one. Where are we now? CMG Mortgage? Okay, we'll really see if anybody's listening, Harvey Freed, just so you know. Equal housing lender. NMLS number, whatever it is, it doesn't matter. We're going to find out if compliance is listening. All right, this is a test. It's a test of the emergency broadcast system. We'll see if anybody's listening. Anyways, we want to welcome today's podcast a longtime friend of the podcast and of the show, Ed Brittingham. Hi, Ed Brittingham from Remax Eclipse in Sterling Heights. How are you today?
I am doing great, Harry.
You know, when you get programmed into something's been droned into your brain for years and years and years, and you just keep repeating it in your sleep. That's like what happens. It's kind of like what happens when Pat Uribe is supposed to be on, but she's your partner in crime, and she's not on because she's attending a class. Send her our regards, okay?
I will do that. Thank you, Harry.
Okay, is she coming on the show with you this Saturday?
I'm sorry?
I said, is she coming on the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business
She will be there this
Saturday
weekend.
morning?
She just had the continuing education class for a code of ethics she had to knock out for this year.
There it is. See, that code of ethics, and that's what we subscribe to too. So that's why I try to get the compliance stuff out of the way at the beginning. With us also joining Ed and myself is Miss Lisa Lawson.
Hello, everybody.
Good morning. And Mr. Harvey Freed, host of the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Show, heard every Saturday morning along with Lisa Lawson. John Kolb,
good morning,
Becky Alley,
everybody.
and myself. Good morning, Harvey.
What's happening?
All right, Ed,
morning.
let's just jump right into it, Ed. I want to go right into it. I want to go hard. I want to go enthusiastic on this. You've been on this podcast many times, on the show many times. We're going to talk about, I'm not kidding you, Ed, when I got an updated, I'm using air quotes, updated housing market forecast as of yesterday, 2/20/2024 for this spring comes in. I love the term updated, Ed. Nothing other than a reiteration of what we've seen on the street thus far in 2024. Busier spring, not enough rates aren't coming down. What's going on in your world?
It's almost a repeat of last. The inventory shortage has been an ongoing issue, and it doesn't look like it's going to improve anytime soon. But the good news is that I read today that they're forecasting the mortgage rates are going to drop a little bit in this year. That should bring a pool of buyers back in. And if sellers are looking to capitalize on their equity, this might be the year to do it.
Yeah, and I would agree with you. I don't think much has changed from last year. I think we're seeing the same kind of year. And also, you know, I want to bring Lisa Lawson in here, and we've been preaching this. This is nothing new. I get this updated news flash every week, and now they updated it to basically, Lisa, the same old, same old. So Ed confirmed it. We're on the street every single day. We really don't need people to tell us what the market is doing, Lisa, because you, Harvey, Ed, myself, John, Becky, everybody here, we know what's going on the street, right, Lisa?
Yeah, absolutely. And I always call it updated because it's the same update we had last year and the year before and the year before that. But, you know, like Ed said, once these rates hopefully drop just a little bit, I think it will, you know, instill some confidence and people will be, you know, excited to get out there and start looking to buy homes again. You know, but there are programs in place that people don't have to wait. We have a rate rebound program. So if the rates fall half in the first into that lower rate, it's not a reason to wait. But yeah, definitely. I think there's just a lot of excitement that's going to happen. Hopefully this inventory frees up a little bit and they want.
Yeah, here we are, Harvey Freed. We're officially about 30 days away from the official spring, but we know that spring in Michigan, sometimes it comes in February and sometimes it comes in May. But the calendar says spring's right around the corner 30 days from now, Harvey. You've been pretty busy. You got a lot of realtors sending to business and talking about what the market's doing. You're headed out to a real estate office as soon as you hop off the podcast. I know we say it every week, but there's really no update. The market is what it is. It's going to stay that way for a while. Harvey, how are you feeling about that?
Well, the housing market started off to a good start in January. And of course, the winter month of December saw a little bit of a decline in interest rates going from that 8% area down to the 7s. That excited some people. And it looked like National Association of Realtors, everyone was reporting that the year had started really good. And now we've seen a little bit of a bump in rate. It doesn't feel good to report that the rates continue to hover around 7%. Depending upon what your costs are, of course, loan to value, credit scores, program you're getting. But we are really standing by. We know, and Ed mentioned, it's going to be gangbusters. There are enough buyers out there, just based on their age and family development, that there's going to be multiple offers on a limited inventory. That story isn't changing anytime soon.
Hey, Ed Brittingham, here we go. Remax. Eclipse Sterling Heights, always a friend of the show, but on the podcast, on the show. Ed, best time to buy a home. It's always when you can afford it, right? And the math always works out for you. But the best time really is now, because if people are waiting, they're behind the 8 ball, right, Ed?
Absolutely, they're behind the 8 ball. The best time to buy is when you're ready to buy. Don't wait for the rates to come down. Wait for the house to come available that you like, that'll work for you.
I love that, Ed. And we've been saying that all the time. And I know you have way more buyers right now than sellers. And to further underscore the inventory issue, it's not going to go away. Homeowners are staying right now. Statistic came out twice as long as they were 20 years ago. 20 years ago, people were in their houses on an average of 6.5 years, Ed. Now they're in 12 years. The reason is simple. Baby boomers were getting older. 40% of baby boomers have lived in their home 20 plus years, and an additional 16%, 10 to 19 years. So boomers aren't moving as frequently as when they were in their 40s. Now they're in their 60s, right? So, Ed, also the low rates, 66% have a rate under 4, 70% have a rate under 4.5. So baby boomers are not getting ready to move anytime soon, Ed.
No, they're not, Harry. They're not eager to get a mortgage payment that's higher than what they have already. But most of those baby boomers have 100% equity. Their homes are paid off. They're not looking for a lateral move into something and getting a mortgage. They're looking to downsize. The problem is there isn't a whole lot of inventory allowing them to do that.
Yeah, and Lisa Lawson. I mean, so let's say that all these people, which is a fact, aren't moving as frequently as they were. We still have the millennials that want to come into the market, and there are plenty of them. We have so many first-time home buyer programs, down payment assistance programs, Lisa. You and Becky are the queens of these types of programs, getting first-time home buyers in the homes with little or very little down payment. Tell us about some of these programs, Lisa.
So a lot of people know about MISHTA. They know through the state of Michigan, you can get, $10,000 towards closing costs, taxes, homeowners insurance, and such if you qualify. But there's other programs that don't have those types of requirements. Program that in essence will give you 5% of the sales price, and that 5% goes towards an FHA loan, the 3.5% down payment requirement, and that additional 1.5% can go towards closing costs, taxes, insurance. So that really reduces what people need to bring to close. If you add that with a couple percent of concessions, you can literally get in for nothing. And sometimes what happens is, rent has gone up astronomically. And it's not that people can't afford a house, they just can't afford to save. So if you're paying a $1,500 rent payment, you can pay a $1,500 mortgage payment. The problem is after they pay the rent and everything else, they can't save the extra money that they need to get that down payment. So these types of programs, everyone's like, oh, 100% financing is bad. Well, obviously we want everyone to have a little skin in the game, but that's not always realistic, especially in the rental market that we're in. And programs like the FHA Buyer's Choice Program allows people to get into homes very easily with very, very little out of pocket.
Yeah, Lisa, that's a great observation. And obviously you're on the street. We put a lot of people in these programs. And, back in the early to mid 1990s, we hired a guy by the name of Harvey Freed. And then we proclaimed Harvey Freed the king of the FHA loan at that point in time. Harvey, FHA transactions, dispel the rumor, the myth, and people out there, I can't believe it's still going on 30, 35 years later. People don't need 20% down to get in a home, Harvey Freed.
Well, the greatest thing about FHA lately has been the rise in loan limits. So 498,257. That question was on our radio show. Just under $500,000. So you can purchase just over $500,000 place, 3.5% down. FHA is used for families that might have had a past issue with a bankruptcy or a foreclosure. Great program. Yes, also a little bit more lenient when it comes to lower credit scores and higher debt to income ratios. So we see families getting approved with 50 back end ratios, even higher sometimes. We also see families getting approved, individuals getting approved with credit scores in the high 500s sometimes. So very, very opportunists out there should take a look at that to see if that capital mortgage will tell you what program you can fit into. And a lot of times the program sounds scary, but it's a great way, an entry-level way into housing. And down the road, you're able to switch your mortgage to maybe a better term.
Hey, Harvey, just a point of reference. Back in the early 90s, what was the loan? And there's no stigma to an FHA loan. Listen, the Federal Housing Administration, they want people to be homeowners, Harvey. Would you remember what the loan limits were at that time?
I'm going to say back, Harry, in 1992 and 93, that you were looking at 101,250, just over $100,000 for a loan limit. And then the increases were up to 125, 150, 180. So here we are all the way up to 498,257. Almost
Harvey, it's gone up over 4.5 times. And you can get a very, very nice home for a little down. Again, we're promoting home ownership. Federal Housing Administration wants people to be able to qualify for their own home because, Ed Brittingham, as you know, the quickest way to financial wealth, to self-wealth, our personal wealth is through owning real estate. And you've been doing this for a long time. Nothing can be more satisfied, Ed, than you putting a first-time home buyer in a house.
You nailed it, Harry. That's the greatest feeling when you walk someone through the process that they did not know about because they never thought that they'd be able to afford a home. And then to go through the process and they're actually in their home, nothing like it.
And I think it's great. And Lisa Lawson, she puts so many first-time home buyers in there. She has repeat clients for life. She's done entire families. Lisa, tell people what it's like. And again, we're trying to bring information to the street. We're trying to promote education as well as home ownership, which is the ultimate goal. But that feeling, Lisa, that when you as a loan officer put somebody in that house, you attend that closing, and then you hear year after year after year after year how happy they are in that house.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I don't think there's a better feeling. And what's even better is when that person who bought the house from us, 15 years ago, has a kid, another kid is buying their first home with me. And they were so happy with everything that happened back then that they referred their child, who's now buying their first house at 22, 21, and helping them through the process and all the new programs. And it's so funny because the parents are like, whatever she says, we don't know, we can't keep up with all the stuff, but, programs change. So the younger generation has so many more opportunities that the parents didn't have buying these first homes 15 years ago.
Very true.
So many more programs available, so many more out of the box thinking kind of programs, things that weren't even a blip 15 years ago. And, things with grants, things with forgivable seconds, just so many things. And so, we're happy to help families make home ownership true, help families increase generational wealth. And, everyone should have a home. So,
yeah. Hey, Lisa, before we turn it over to Harvey and some last words from Ed and just talking about the real estate market, you and Becky Alley from our office did the annual bridal show at Ford Field on Sunday. Mm-hmm. We have a specific and exclusive program that it's called Home Fund It. Explain to everybody what Home Fund It is.
So first of all, Ed knows all. It is a crowdfunding, right? We all hear crowdfunding. It's kind of a buzzword, but it allows families and friends of people who are going to purchase a home in hopefully the future to assist with that using down payment gifts. So instead of writing a check, say at a wedding, someone's having a wedding, and giving them a check for $100, you deposit $100 into their home funded account. The account can be there for years. There's multiple ways to increase, but for every dollar that's put into the account, we will match $2 up to a $2,000 limit. So say that you have 100 guests at your wedding, everyone gives you a $75 gift. You have, $7,500 in there, and we're going to give you another $2. You now have $9,500 to go buy a house. There's other aspects to that program and other ways to earn money, and even realtors can contribute. Ed has generously contributed for anyone that participates in Home Fund It between Ed and I. Ed, I'll let you tell what you're going to contribute.
I contributed $500. I just
Yep.
think it's so important to be able to get a home. And this is an awesome option. Crowdfunding for a house. Who'd have thought it? And it's
I
possible.
know.
I was just
Yeah.
blown away when I saw the webinar, and I thought, this is awesome.
It is so
Ed,
awesome.
pretty
We're the only
exciting.
ones that do it.
It's pretty exciting to me. Been around a long time. And Ed, you've been selling real estate. Lisa and I are pretty excited about it. Bringing it to market and getting a reaction from people like you, Ed, who've been around to say, can't believe it. Never heard of such a thing. Wow. Why didn't anybody think of this sooner? Okay. I mean, it's such an easy concept, but because, really, for years and years and years, we always said, who cares where the gift funds come from? Well, Fannie and Freddie cared. Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, and HUD, they cared where the funds came from. Now, not so much. So we can contribute. It's all about putting people in homes and home ownership. Listen, back 30 years ago, the goal was to have 70% of people owning homes. Well, the population has grown. We're at about 64% of home ownership right now, striving for obviously higher. Harvey Freed's talked about it. He's a master at FHA loans, but there are so many other programs that we can get people in to be homeowners. Harvey, I'm going to go around the horn. I'm going to start with you, then go to Lisa, then Ed will have the last words. Harvey Freed, last words for February 21st, 2024.
Okay, well, we mentioned it earlier. The housing market's off to a huge start already, and it's very important that families are setting themselves up for success. The best way for us to engage is to have a real approval letter. That means you've submitted your documentation in, and we've run it through our system. This allows you to make a strong offer. And when listing agents reach back out to us, we can tell them that we can for sure close this loan in 30 days. I'm saying about 50% of the clients are doing that. The other 50% are old school winging it, putting a lot of pressure on the loan officers, the lender themselves to get their documentation together. People generally have a little bit of mess going on in their lives. Not everybody, but most people have moving parts, we say. And what our job is to do is to get that in front of that right away and set you up so you can make an offer on a house. Again, multiple offers, so you're going to have to be ready to close in at least 3 to 4 weeks. That's probably what the listing agents want to hear.
Very strong advice, Harvey. Great job with that. Lisa Lawson, last words for February 21st, 2024.
Yeah, I mean, just to piggyback on what Harvey said, being prepared is so important. It's much more difficult to chase what you need than to have it up front and in advance. So same thing, if you get pre-approved, you know exactly what your limits are, you know what your payments are going to be, you wing it, you fall in love with the house, you think you want it, you make an offer, it's accepted, and the numbers are, and you're like, I can't afford that. I don't want to have that kind of payment. I thought it would be XYZ because you've done it kind of backwards. So it's so important to get approved so you're comfortable with what you need, you're comfortable with the payment, you know exactly what's going on, you've got a timeline, and you can prepare. So I know it's always seems a little daunting to grab documents and get them together, but this is the perfect time. It's tax season. You're probably getting your taxes done anyway. That's like the majority of the work right there. So, you know, W-2s, tax returns, throw in a couple of pay stubs, send us a copy of your driver's license and a bank statement, and we're good to go. It doesn't have to be that complicated.
Strong advice, Lisa. As always, April 15th is tax day. You have to get your taxes filed. So if it's not in process already, better start the process. What great advice. Beautiful. Ed Brittingham, Remax Eclipse, Sterling Heights. Last words for the day, my friend.
It all goes to preparation and knowledge. Sit down, have a conversation with a realtor that you trust, and absolutely get pre-approved. Speak with a lender because there are so many programs available. Realtors don't know. That's not their lane. Find a realtor that you trust that has professionals like Capital Mortgage Funding answer your questions. Get prepared and be prepared for a long process. It's not easy. It's not quick.
It's worth it.
Ed Brittingham, always a great guest from Remax Eclipse and Sterling Heights, and always learning every day, everybody. If you can't tell the difference between who you've been talking to and Lisa Lawson, Harvey Freed, Ed Brittingham, I'm here to tell you that it's such great advice and with such confidence that they are educating the general public on lending. And as a special announcement to all lenders out there, listen, guys, you really have to know every program out there. Don't be afraid to ask. Call Capital Mortgage Funding, 1-800-LOW-RATE. Yeah, I'm talking to lenders out there. If you don't know, we'll school you. I have no problem with it because the only competition you really have is yourself. We don't really have competition. We only compete with ourselves on a daily basis. Again, I'd like to thank Ed Brittingham from Remax Eclipse in Sterling Heights. We will see him on the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate and Business Show heard every Saturday morning from 97.1 FM, brought to you by Capital Mortgage Funding, powered by CMG Home Loans, NMLS number 1820. I'd like to thank Harvey Freed, Lisa Lawson. I'm Harry Glanz, and for our producer, director, Roberta Beauchene, who's producing this telecast and podcast from his automobile stuck on 696. We'll see you soon.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.